Hey everybody, this is Star. Okay, this is Rima Desai from the Guiding Star talking about Rahu, Ketu, what they are and their dashas, what to do in their dashas. But today I want to bust the myths, the misconceptions that people have about Rahu, Ketu that all astrologers talk about. I follow, I hear, I talk to so many different astrologers, so many that I have in my entire time, and I follow many astrologers on YouTube, and I follow a lot of their videos, many of the very well-known astrologers, and I haven't found one astrologer, even the very well-known, even the most well-known ones, I'm not going to name anybody, who knows truly what Rahu Ketu are. So today I'm going to tell you what that is, how to use that. There's one astrologer who came a little close, but not quite. So in short, I will say that I haven't met a person who understands or knows really what Rahu Ketu, which is Rahu is North Node, Ketu is South Node, what they are, what really they stand for in a chart or in astrology. We're talking about Vedic sidereal astrology. Western astrology also uses North Node and South Node, Rahu and Ketu. So nevertheless, the meaning will remain the same for both astrology kinds. And here's what you need to know also about Rahu Ketu Dasha, is something that I will share in this video, and what to do, how to leverage that Dasha for yourself. But the biggest thing is, first of all, Rahu and Ketu are not planets. So that I'd said in a video before earlier already. However, Rahu and Ketu are really nothing. They're nothing. They're not even, you know how they talk about shadow planets of the moon, shadows of the moon. It's that concept, just erase that concept from your mind if you can completely, right? It's not that. It's related to the moon, but it's nothing else that the astrologers talk about. It's just become a big topic of discussion because it's commercial. It adds commercial value. And then many astrologers just copy paste, and they hear and they follow and they read astrology books, and somebody said it and now everybody thinks it's that. And it's hilarious. It makes me laugh. It makes me also feel sad of there's just not any understanding of what Rahu Ketu are. So Rahu and Ketu, it's correct. You can call them the nodes of the moon. But what does that mean? The moon is your astral body. It's your emotional body. So this is my physical body, and then the brain over here, right? That's our mental body, Budh, which is Mercury in the chart. Then we talk about the soul, which is the sun, the Atma, the soul. But then we also have an emotional body, which is the moon, represented by the moon in a chart for Western or Eastern astrology. By Eastern, I mean Vedic Indian astrology, or sidereal in other words. Now, what does the moon mean? Or what does the mind or the mental body, emotional body or astral body, in other words, even mean? It means that the sense organs that we have, these 5 sense organs, we feel the world through these 5 sense organs as humans. And when we feel the world, we feel them through these 5 sense organs, the sensory memory. We then develop feelings, right? We feel feelings within us, and those feelings have stored experiences for us or memories for us. So the feelings that we feel through the body, it's basically the emotional body, is the connect between the physical body and the Atma, the soul. It's like the bridge that helps us experience the world, give messages to the soul, take messages back from the soul of what really does the soul desire, and then through the sense organs help us try to achieve that. In other words, in the shortest, simplest words, if I may say. But in other words, this emotional body is nothing but our subconscious mind. It's our subconscious mind. And if you don't know what that is, then you need to go just read that, because I'm not going to discuss that in this video. But the mental body, the frontal lobe, the logical mind only knows what it knows by whatever it's been taught. You know the color black, white, because you've been taught that, the languages that you've been taught. The subconscious mind, the astral, the sukshma sharir, the emotional body, it has the 6th sense. It doesn't need to be taught anything. It doesn't need to be attached to a physical body to learn or know. Right? It feels naturally. It's a second level. It's a higher level of knowledge, if you may say, or existence, if you can say. So it does not require, the 6th sense does not require logic. The 6th sense is connected to the soul, it has a deeper vision. It's a further vision beyond just the 3D level of the earth. It can, the sixth sense may tell you things that the logical mind cannot fathom, cannot pick up, cannot logically reason, but it can still be true. Whatever your sixth sense tells you can be 100% true. That's coming from your astral body. Now, Rahu and Ketu are nothing but the subconscious mind. It's the nature of your subconscious mind. Now, what does this mean? By this, I mean that the sanskar that we have developed, let's break it down further. Sanskar means conditioned patterns. That's the easiest way that I can tell you. Conditioned patterns that you have developed, through which then you have developed belief systems, moral values, ways of living, ways of perception, in other words. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. That is, all of that is your, becomes your sanskar. So whatever you do over and over again, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Everyone who's watching, thank you for the likes, the love. Thank you so much. Now, you know, like anybody, any actor, any person, anybody who vlogs like I do, we're nothing without an audience. So I really appreciate you listening to me. Thank you so much. So when, for example, somebody who has a habit of smoking, right? They smoke, that condition of doing it over and over and over and over again. You know, once you do something over and over again, it sits in your memory. It sits in your subconscious mind. It becomes a pattern. It becomes your sanskar. So if I tell you every day, you're an awesome person, you're an awesome person, you're an awesome person, if I just keep repeating that, it will sit. So it's like a nail. You hit it, so you continue to hammer it into the wall. It's going to get stuck there. So then that becomes your sanskar. It becomes your pattern. It becomes your understanding, the way you view the world, the way you live your life, your belief systems, your moral values. All of that is your sukshma sharir, your emotional body, your astral body, and in other words, your subconscious mind. And that's really what Rahu and Ketu are. But there are two different parts, if that's the easiest way for you to understand, of the subconscious mind. Two different kinds, or the nature of your subconscious mind. Ketu, so as astrologers will rightly describe the nature, that nature of the description of that nature is almost correct, not fully, by what astrologers say. Although they think it's a planet, they think it's the shadow of the moon. It's none of that. It's really just the moon. It's just your mind, but it's the deeper part of your mind. It's your subconscious mind. So technically in astrology, it shouldn't even be used as a planet. It has to be used in a certain way, and I'll explain what that is in just a little bit. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you for the comment, Arpita. With Ketu, it's the sanskar that we've developed very deep. And again, you know, depending on the degree, the nakshatra, the nature of your Rahu and Ketu, it'll tell us how deep that sanskar is, how long, for how many lives you had it, and it'll also tell us how good or bad that sanskar is, positive or negative, what direction it's moving in. So, for example, sanskar of anger, sanskar of kindness, all of these are sanskars, like something that you've learned to do over and over and over again, or belief systems that you've developed through family, through living in those, like sanskar of social service. Like I come from a family of ancestors of social service. Like we all have done a lot of social service. It's just, it's a part, it's in my blood, you know. So that's a sanskar. So that sanskar, which is very deep rooted, or talents that you know very naturally, it's at the back of your hand. Like nobody has to teach me how to be with kids. Like I have a God's gift. What you call as God's gift, that's what we're talking about as Ketu, your south node. That's your God's gift. Like that's the sanskar that, it's that nail in the wall, like it's rooted within you, in your DNA of your soul. That could be good or bad, right? It could be the smoking sanskar, and it could be the kindness sanskar. It could be anything. Rahu is also your sanskar. It's, however, the part of the subconscious mind that is either unfulfilled, so you crave that. It's unfulfilled, it's deprived, or it's something that you are here to learn and grow into, that you desire, your soul desires to learn and grow into. So, and it could also be, there's so many complications, I'm trying to make it simple. It can also be the baggage that you carry in your subconscious mind and through your past karmas that you have to pay off. So but it's all related to your sanskar. So for example, the easiest example that I can give is second house Rahu. If anybody has second house Rahu, that second house Rahu is the sanskar. It could be a person, could be, most likely, depending on the nature of Rahu again, or the north node showing in the chart. In the second house would be most likely a person who smokes a lot, like mouth related, intake related. The sanskar of wanting to take a lot, somebody who has the sanskar of taking a lot from others, like they've taken a lot from others, and to do that they could have had a sanskar of lying, cheating, whatever they can do to get what they want from others. The whole sanskar is other people have to fulfill my wishes. Other people have to do what I need. So if I need money, if I need luxury, I'm going to try to find it through inheritance from my parents. I'm going to try to find it through a partner who's well-to-do. I'm going to try to find it. So that's like the Rahu and the Ketu axis. Rahu in the second house, Ketu in the 8th house. Now, they could have a sanskar of smoking, eating like very lavish food, so a lot of meat eating. It can be a lot of lying, everything related to the mouth. But that sanskar of that Rahu, then why is the Rahu there? The Rahu is there for because the emotional body has been very parched in that second house things. So somebody who smokes a lot is likely somebody who's coming from many lives, that they have not received family care. They have not received care in their childhood. They have not gained emotional care, specifically related to the good food, good nourishment, feeling their soul is nourished, feeling like you're important, feeling acknowledged, feeling like they probably lived in a lot of deprivation, in other words. So what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to, if the Rahu, the aim of that Rahu is to teach the person to gain that sanskar of how to fulfill your deprivation, but emotionally, right? Or through a family, or how to learn to let go of trying to get material gains from others, trying to have other people fulfill your deprivation. The learning there is you have to fight for what you need, and if you do it rightfully, you will be able to fill that gap. It's like there is a pit hole on the street where you're walking. If you fulfill the pit, like if you find, because you can fall in it, right? You will fall in it for sure. So if you go ahead and close that pit hole, if you work hard enough, then you will never fall again. And nobody else will also, of course, but you will never fall again for sure. But what the Rahu second house person will try to do is that somebody else needs to go and take care of it. I don't want to take care of it. And they will continue to be deprived. They will continue to be deprived. So, and I'm trying to make it again very simple to explain, but it can be many different things. Also with the subconscious mind, Rahu and Ketu can also depict, depending upon their nature, somebody who is not originally from Earth. Somebody who's not lived on Earth. They're from other planets, other dimensions. So it's a different energy. It's basically different, very different, many times. So it could be a very different energy. So that is another, but it's still depicting your astral body. It's still depicting your subconscious mind. It's still depicting the powers that the emotional mind holds within. So any astrologer who tells you that your Rahu is this, Rahu is that, Rahu ke liye ye karo, Rahu ke liye wo karo, do this remedy. There's no other remedy except for remedy of your subconscious mind. That's all you have to remedy with Rahu and Ketu. Whatever the issue is that's being shown related to where Rahu and Ketu are placed in your chart, you have to deal with that karmic baggage of the emotional body, of the subconscious mind. And that's it. If you do that, you're golden. But to do that, there's likely going to be a lot of challenge. Why? Because that karma is, or that sanskar, that pattern is very deeply seated in your soul, in your emotional body. There's a lot of memory around doing things a certain way, thinking a certain way, being stubborn, or being very egoistic, whatever that may be. And to take that away, A gemstone is not going to help you. Trying to do a havan is not going to help you. Yantra tantra is not going to help you. You've got to work on yourself. You have to work on yourself. Now, the other part to it is the dasha. When you go through Rahu and Ketu dasha, what should you be doing? What should you be looking for? Now, there can be many factors to all of that, but I can give you a very general scenario. A general scenario is when Ketu dasha comes, depending on which direction the soul is heading. If the soul is heading, and depending on the nature of your Rahu and Ketu, again, Rahu could also be a wonderful subconscious mind. Somebody who's very, very powerful, but they still have some wishes left to be fulfilled from their emotional body, right? So, but that's why their Rahu is wherever it is. But it could be very positive Rahu as well. It could be somebody who's very spiritual, but they still have some material, something that they've not fulfilled in their life that they need to come and experience and finish it or fulfill it for themselves. So depending on which direction the soul is headed, an astrologer should be able to tell whether, in most cases, not always, whether that person is moving towards a spiritual life and growth and consciousness, or a materialistic life and growth and not growth and consciousness. If you have Ketu dasha coming, or if you are in Ketu dasha, if you experience Ketu dasha in your life, then you're more towards the spiritual, generally, rule of thumb, but not always, but generally. If the person is going to experience Rahu dasha, that is more of the fulfilling your material desires of love or lust or money or fame or whatever you want. Like they want that. So that's the general rule of thumb. So if you have, let's say, Rahu dasha, if you are in Rahu dasha, if you have Rahu dasha coming, Rahu dasha will tell you, again, you have to look at what is the nature of Rahu in your chart. But Rahu dasha can tell us a person who is really here to fulfill the unfulfilled wishes. Either they're here to fulfill the unfulfilled wishes of name, fame, money, status, like, all the flashy things of the earth, all the sansar ki cheeze, right? Like attachments, all the attachments and desires. Or if they're Rahu, like for example, if you see Rahu in Gemini, and then the Mercury is in a certain position, you can tell that this person has a sanskar that they're just greedy. They just want name and fame, and they'll do anything, and status and luxury and power. And it's like being a queen. You were a queen in one life, and now you always want to be a queen, and you never want to give it up. It's very deep-rooted attachment in materialistic desires. Very, very deep. That sanskar then could be very deep in it. So what the person will do is, in the Rahu dasha, they're going to fight for that. They're going to go out of their way, do whatever they need to do, lie, cheat, lay down with people, people who lay down with their bosses to get a promotion, to get opportunities, whatever they need to do to get that same feeling of I am the queen, right? So again, an astrologer has to assess whether this person is here to fulfill, and that needs to happen. The fulfillment needs to happen, because if you're fulfilled, if your astral body has finished the cycle of feeling what it needed to feel, it can move on to the next stage. Then it can look towards God, or then it can look towards, okay, now I can, I was very hungry, I ate my food, now I can go exercise, for example. But if it's the sanskar of, I'm the greedy, selfish person, and I'm going to continue to be that sanskar is not going to help you to obviously it's only going to help you bank more negative karma, in other words, right? So if you're in Rahu dasha, I would say, if an astrologer would be I don't know if many astrologers can be honest, because people don't like to hear that. But I would ask, how positive or negative, how karmically bound is my Rahu? I would encourage you to ask that. And if you are karmically bound, one of the, Rahu and Taurus, Rahu and Gemini, these are the very karmically bound Rahus. Rahu in Scorpio could be. Then for those Rahus, then what I will suggest not to do in your Rahu dasha is, don't take shortcuts. Don't break moral rules. Do not break moral rules to get what you want. Get what you want. Go after your desire, because Rahu dasha is going to be a person who really just has all these desires. They just want to eat very good food. They're very, very deep rooted into attachments. So enjoy that if you want to, a lot of lust, a lot of whatever, like all of that, they want the best quality clothes, but don't do it in the wrong way. Don't bank more karma and make that Rahu even stronger, and so that you'll continue to be in the birth and death cycle and continue to go through pain and life. And that if you, as much as you can, strive to break that nature of Rahu. The other opposite is the Ketu, the South Node. If you're in the South Node Dasha, you're most likely moving more towards, oh, I've lived all my life, I understand the sansar, I understand all of these attachments, it's all an illusion, and you're somewhere in that journey, right? You may not fully be there, but you're somewhere, your soul is starting to move towards that, or is root deeply into it. In Ketu Dasha, as much as you can, what you're also doing is your Ketu is all the sanskars that you already know, things that you already know, talents that you already know, like something that you're an expert at. So again, instead of trying to be comfortable in things that you already know, in the work that you already do, in the things that you're already good at, and continuing to stay in that comfort zone, start to move very consciously towards godliness. Like if you make a little bit of effort towards hanging out with spiritual people, reading spiritual scriptures, moving towards godliness, doing more meditations, more self-growth, automatically that Ketu Dasha will be, the more you do it, the more that the subconscious mind, is going to grow towards detachment from the illusions of the world and the attachments of the world, and move towards the liberation, towards nirvana. Not that you will, but towards that phase. It'll continue to prepare you to move forward. So Ketu Dasha is, if you don't do that, it's going to force you to do it. So it's going to force, the subconscious mind is going to have to go through the pain of letting go of material, like, people that you love can die, or you can be separated from them, or all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden you can lose everything. Like I hear as I talk to my students, I have so many students, like, and somebody will say, I lost my home in fire, and this happened or that happened. And, that could be classic Ketu example. And I've known some people who've gone through Ketu Dasha, and yeah, I can tell you that if you're very deeply rooted in the material life, then that subconscious mind is like it's being forced now to move towards godliness more. But in any solution for either of them, Rahu Dasha, Ketu Dasha, for Rahu or for Ketu, if you do work of the subconscious mind, if you work on your astral emotional body and recognizing your patterns, recognizing your sanskars, recognizing your belief systems, you really do that deep work, you won it. You'll be able to manage your Rahu and Ketu, you'll be able to rise above them. If they won't impact you as much, the strength of your chart, your life will really go up substantially. So what's the best way to do subconscious work? The best way that I know, obviously you can do affirmations. That's all very shallow level work. You can do affirmations, you can do journaling, you can go to a therapist. Like those are some great starters. They're very basic, they're very starter points. But deep subconscious work, hypnotherapy, deep hypnotherapy regularly, right? That's where you're tapping into that astral body. That's your Rahu and Ketu. That's all the stored belief systems, the stored memories, the stored thoughts of several lifetimes. By stored, I mean several lifetimes. I'm not talking about, that's why the nature of your Rahu and Ketu comes, because you have bagged that energy from several lifetimes. So working on through hypnotherapy, progressive hypnotherapy, there's so many different ways around that. I do that. So I work with my clients with hypnotherapy, and it's not hypnotizing. So please know hypnotizing that they show, it's totally different. What they show in movies is totally different. Hypnotherapy is not that. Nobody's controlling your mind. Nobody's making you do things. No, it's releasing all the baggage and the blocks from your subconscious mind. And nobody even does, like, I don't control I just help you meditate and get into that state, and your mind automatically releases what it needs to release. But it has to be like an exercise consistently, until you start to see major shifts and you are able to manage that on your own much better. So releasing your anger, there's just so much, it's a whole topic. I can't go into that details now. And then also I do Akashic clearings, soul clearings. That's where we are clearing out your subconscious mind of several lifetimes. The blocks that we get in our life are based on the subconscious. Everything, all the spiritual work, the energy work is based on the subconscious mind. And even the body has a memory. But the reason the body has a memory is that astral body. It's the sensory, the five senses, the sensory organs, your sensory memory. That's astral body. That's your emotional body. That's your Rahu Ketu also. It's the gateway to your Rahu Ketu. So when we are hearing about all the stories of Rahu was this, and Ketu was, Rahu was this Rakshas, this demon. These are stories that are metaphoric, supposed to be, but people make them as real stories. They're supposed to be metaphoric stories of helping you understand the nature of that Rahu, which is supposed to be just your subconscious mind. But astrologers have made it something else, and they don't even know it's the subconscious mind. I've not heard one astrologer, not one. The most popular, no one. I've seen so many YouTube videos. I've talked to a few astrologers. Nobody knows this. So, but I can tell you, I can vouch to you, like this is my expertise. So it's just your subconscious mind, and it is in the, anybody who likes the technicalities of it, in the moon or in the sky or in your life, in your Atma, like this whole world is energy. And many of you may not understand what I'm saying right now, what I'm about to say. It's the gateway. Rahu and Ketu are the only points that your soul has the gateway to release or enter any dimension, any portal, any dimension that you need to enter or release. That's your Rahu and Ketu points. That's the power of your subconscious mind to connect your soul to the body and to connect to the other realm. It's your connection to the other realm. It's the portal points of your other realm. So I don't know if many of you understand what I'm saying, but that's why there's all this importance of the energy that they talk about, Rahu and Ketu. Astrologers don't even know what it is. One astrologer I heard out of so many years, finally he understood some of it. He was talking something very similar to what I'm talking about with the points. And if you see in the sky, that will be the shadow in front of, that's why they call the shadow, yes, in front of the moon and the back of the moon, but that's really just the gateway of connecting to the dimension outside the solar system. And that's why they're very powerful points. And they're very powerful points in our emotional body and our body, because they're also the points that here we are on earth, but then that's the point through which, through the subconscious mind, through meditation, through so many other techniques, you can close your eyes, you can get deep into it and connect to, feeling like you're connecting to God, feeling like you're connecting to people who have passed away, but you feel that connection. That connection is coming from your astral body, from the Rahu and Ketu points. So if you master Rahu and Ketu, you've mastered your entire chart, you've mastered your life, you've mastered the solutions that you need for all problems in your life, everything. And that's the hardest thing to do. Number one, most people don't know. Number two, it's the hardest thing to do because remember in the beginning of the video, if you've not heard it, go back and listen to the video. It's that nail in the wall. It's just so stuck from having been hammered over and over and over and over and over several thousands and sometimes 10,000s or even lakhs of lifetimes, that to overcome that, that's why the religious techniques of tapasya, that's fasting, penance, forgiveness theories, in psychology, deep therapy, hypnotherapy, like all of this is again just the reflection, self-reflection and self-growth of your subconscious mind. That's all it is. And psychology has great techniques to it, and even like, I regard hypnotherapy as psychology. It doesn't technically fall under the science of psychology traditionally, but I regard that as psychology. So those are amazing techniques. If you'd like to experience them, I'm going to be hosting, I have a group on WhatsApp. If you'd like to join, please let me know, ping me. I'm going to be hosting some group hypnotherapy. I always do with my vision board workshops. Whenever I do them, I include that. It's not scary. It's very simple. It's the simplest form of it is called guided imagery, which most people know. It's become so popular now that there are so many like Headspace, so many YouTube videos, so many organizations. They've started to own it. and sell it as corpse. That's even many corporations have signed up for their employees to get these benefits for free. But everything on Headspace or YouTube, like, that's not customized. It's very short. It's very like generic. What you can do in your work with me is you can do just very individualized work based on the challenges that you're facing in your life. I'll give you one example and I will end this video after that. I love this example. I can give you so many examples from so many clients who've done hypnotherapy with me, but this one always stays with me. I love sharing it. This is one of my clients, heavier in her body, had never never finished a 5K run in her life, and it was in general had just the body image issues. Like, in India, if you're heavy, I had that a lot. I still have some of it. I feel that you're shamed a lot, that you're looked down upon, and then that stays with you. It impacts your confidence. You don't feel good about yourself, and then you have shame towards yourself. And so that led her into not being able to feel confident enough in her. The impact emotionally to her was so much that she didn't even know why she couldn't finish a 5K run ever. Like, why could she just not finish it? So we did 2 sessions, hypnotherapy sessions, where we allowed her mind to release its block of not being able to do this, or her body not being enough, or her being overweight, that sense of shame and embarrassment and despair. And by after 2 sessions, she ran a 5K. She finished that run despite being heavier body, and she stood second. She stood second for the first time in her life. And that's all we've done, just 2 sessions. And that's the power of hypnotherapy. If you know people who smoke, alcohol issues, if you have issues saving money, if you have a lot of fear, if you've gone through a lot of difficulty in your life, tragic trauma, all of that is stored. It's like the pantry in your kitchen, everything, or the closet. Everything that doesn't have space outside on the counter will be stored somewhere inside. That's your subconscious mind. Our conscious mind doesn't have much space, so it's going to store everything extra in the subconscious mind. But then there's all the negative and positive is stored in the subconscious mind, including all the news that you watch, the things that you experience every single day. Now, how much can it hold? It's not going to be able to hold enough. And then if most of what it's holding is negative experiences, negative news, negative image, negative information, it's going to start to create blocks in your life, or in the form of disease in your body. And we want to release all that. We want to release all that so that, cancer is classic. It's classic. I'm not saying that it cannot happen with radiation and chemicals, and yes, there's a physical aspect to it. But in many, many, many cancer cases, cancer is nothing but classic subconscious mind emotions, resentment, bitterness, sadness that's been stored in your body and your subconscious mind for a very long time, and it's rotting. It's rotting there, and then it rots so much that it has to come out somewhere, and starts coming out in the form of disease, and cancer is a classic example of that. So you don't want to get to that stage, and you want to be able to heal yourself. It's an amazing, it's amazing experience. To just experience hypnotherapy, you will feel so relaxed after like the stress that you have in your life. And if you do it regular, I had a client who came to me for 3.5 years, every single week, almost every single week. And she paid me a good amount of money just to get that done. And it made a huge change in her life, getting promotions, moving her life forward, a lot of benefit. There's nothing to lose, no side effects. So hypnotherapy is amazing, subconscious work for your Rahu, Ketu. So is Akashic clearings. And if you want to know more about them, ping me. You're happy to join my group as well. Thank you for listening. Please share this information with others, especially about Rahu, Ketu. There's nothing to be scared of. There's nothing that other astrologers tell you about. It's a lot of nonsense. Please don't listen to that nonsense. Please. Same thing with Mangal Dosh. I've made a video on Mangal Dosh. It's on my YouTube channel as well. Please hear that. Mangal Dosh is nothing that other astrologers tell you about. It's so much nonsense in the world. I don't know what to say. But thank you for listening, everybody. Happy holidays. Bye-bye.